All right, here we go, week 2. So starting off Monday, we're going to build off of our strict pull-ups. So every minute on the minute for 9 minutes instead of the 10. We do 2 to 6 unbroken strict pull-ups. So what I would do is look back at last week, try to match the same number of reps, or kind of start to bump it up, but the overall volume should be more this time. So what I mean by that is, like, let's say last week you did 1 every minute on the minute, then this week see if you can challenge yourself to do 2 every minute on the minute. Or if you're, again, like wherever that rep range is, we want to have more reps done compared to that EMOM 10. So we're following more of a density progression for this. So that means that we're going to be bumping up more and more reps, but the time is going down. So we're getting more done in a short amount of time. So see if you can bump it up a little bit and get more reps done this week. So again, if you did 1 last week, see if you can kind of get 2 and aim for 2 for the 9 minutes. Again, it's not that many rounds, but you are going to get more work done compared to last time there. So play around with it. Again, overall reps should be more. And then ideally, we're doing unbroken reps, whether it's strict pull-ups or ring rows there. Then our workout, this one's an interesting one. We got a Tabata to start and end. So starting with that Tabata is a 20-second on interval with a 10-second break to follow up. And we're doing that 8 times. We're going to do it on the rower. Right after we finish that last interval and we rest for 10 seconds, we're going to transition right into an AMRAP 4 of 8 alternating dumbbell hang power snatches. So we're not going all the way to the ground. And then 8 alternating jumping lunges. So we're going to work on single-sided movements here. Really good to kind of start to develop any kind of imbalances you have. And also it's going to really challenge your core a lot too as well. So expect to kind of get a little bit of that stimulus in this one. When we finish that AMRAP 4, we're going to go right from there into the Tabata. So give yourself like at least 10 seconds to get onto the rower so you can start that Tabata right away. You're going to do the same interval style, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off for the last 4 minutes there. So goal of this one is really to be at that high intensity because we're trying to challenge more of that like high end pace. So we're sprinting more, though we want to be careful when we go into that AMRAP 4, we're not sprinting because we want to still be able to keep a good intense pace on that Tabata row as well. So there's a little bit of strategy involved with it. I would say, again, for that last AMRAP 4, you want to kind of go at a pace that's challenging, but like not going to push you over the edge where you're going to just kind of be surviving through that last 4 minutes. You want to really have some in the tank for that last 4 minutes to empty it out on the rower there. So play around with strategy with that one, but it's a great one to start off Monday. Going into the next day, our back squat progression, we're going to drop it down by 2 reps. So we're going to build up to an 8 rep max. So same thing as last week where we're going to take 5 to 6 sets to build up to that heavy set. So you can kind of count barbell and then build up to that. Give yourself at least 3 to 5 minutes between the heavier sets and you have a 20-minute time cap to get through that. So goal is to be a little bit heavier than last week. So if you did, let's say 150 last week for your 10 rep max, this week that 8 rep max should be a little bit heavier, 155 or 160, for example. It is 2 reps less, so you should expect to see a little bit more of a bump up. Make sure the reps are looking the same across all 8. So how you start and how you end, it will be more of a grind at the end, but we do want to make sure we're not losing technique or form there. So really emphasize that as you're doing your 8 rep max today. So with that, again, we're kind of still on the endurance part of that because it's more reps. But as we creep our way down to those smaller rep schemes, you're going to start to work more on the strength side too as well. So stay tuned for that for the next couple of weeks. But going into our workout, this one's going to have a buy-in of an 800-meter run. As you probably will notice, this cycle has a little bit more running. So 800 meters to start. I would go into it with a good steady pace, not trying to kind of sprint it back, because we're going to go into 3 rounds of 15 cross-body knees to elbows and 20 box step-ups. So kind of like yesterday with that unilateral training, we're going to really challenge the midlines or core. our stability and balance, especially when we're doing those box step ups to a little bit of a higher height. And then we're challenging that that cross body core activation. We don't typically do that as much, and this would be awesome to keep those areas mobile, activate new areas of your core, especially with that cross body knees to elbows. So that won't be a challenging one. You'll probably have to take some time kind of breaking that up into sets. It isn't strict, so you can, if you need to, kip it, but try to get that full range of motion on every rep there. Into Wednesday, this one, back to those intervals, we're looking at 5 or 4 AMRAP 5s. So, and the movements are going to change in this one. So it's kind of an interesting one. We got AMRAP 5, 9 cows on the bike, 6 deadlifts, and then 3 wall walks. In those 5 minutes, we're trying to get through as many rounds as possible. And then we got a good 5-minute rest. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. So we can push it in those 5 minutes because we get to rest just as much there. So if you want to kind of see what your higher end paces are and what you feel comfortable, definitely go for that. Deadlifts aren't supposed to be super heavy. So ideally this is done unbroken. Wall walks will probably be the slowest kind of strength movement. The bike is going to be obviously bringing that heart rate up. So in the 5 minutes, see if you can keep a good pace. I'd probably look at this and say try to get around every 90 seconds to 2 minutes. So you're looking at about 2 to 3 rounds in those 5 minutes. When we're done that 5-minute rest, then this next 5 minutes is very similar. I'm going to drop the weight and go into power cleans. So same idea, rest 5 minutes. And then the last one is 5 minutes with jerks. And again, another weight drop down. So we're doing some barbell cycling in this one. And we're working on that kind of threshold. So there's a little bit of interval training there. We're working on our higher end paces, using a totally different kind of energy system to really train and bring that fitness up. So utilize those 5 minutes as much as you can. We also got one more 5 minutes at the end. And I thought this would be a good kind of burnout and see how much you can get done. Just keep it simple. 5 minutes at the end, max calories on the assault bike. So really push this one. You want to be at that kind of high end pace for the 5 minutes and really using that last minute to just empty the tank and finish it off. So a nice long workout with 5-minute rest in between. So pretty generous rest, but it'd be a fun, sweaty workout for Wednesday. Going into Thursday, this workout, we got our gymnastics starting piece. So skill and strength. It's going to focus on the handstand. We're going to accumulate 1 minute in the freestanding handstand hold. So not a lot of you might have this quite yet, but use this 10 minutes as a way to just work on your handstand and get comfortable with it. Whether it's a wall walk, maybe you want to work on some kick-ups. You can kind of use this 10 minutes as a little bit of a freestyle as well to just get comfortable with your handstands. Lots of benefits from working on it. We're working on our shoulder overhead mobility and our strength when we're doing this. It's creating body awareness. So how do we position our body relative to the rest of it? It does feel different when you're upside down, knowing where your core is, where your hips are, where your legs are. So it's challenging those skills and making us better as an athlete. So you can look at it as a goal of getting a handstand, or you can look at it as a goal of becoming a better athlete and a better mover by challenging yourself with different tools. So gymnastics being one of them that we're going to be using today. So that 10 minutes, really use it as practice and not just trying to whip out as many reps. And then when we go into the workout, that's where you guys can kind of let loose a little bit. We got a 10-round workout, 20 double unders, 15 med ball Russian twists, and then 50-foot farmer's carry, 25 feet out, 25 feet back, and you got a 20-minute cap on this one. So you're looking at trying to get a round done every 2 minutes to get this one done in the 20 minutes, but I believe you guys can kind of push that a little bit more. Definitely finish under the cap, but that's a way you guys can pace this one. Your grip, core, and your breathing are going to be challenged in this one. So really be conscious of your pace. Those first couple rounds will kind of be some easy, fun, give me rounds. But then as you get closer to the 5th round, that's where kind of the workouts kind of starts. And those last 5 rounds, arguably, I would say, is where the workout is really going to challenge you. So pace accordingly. And then once you get into that kind of difficult kind of pace or where the fatigue is building up, see if you can kind of stay calm and maintain it for the rest of those 5 rounds. So good one for Thursday. And again, as always, you can always use this as a day to kind of recover. If you've been 3 days on, just focus on moving today, keep things light, just get a light sweat on. Okay, going into the next day, which is Friday, we got our strength work, and we're working on cleans and our jump here. So we're working on really being mindful of how we jump, how we position ourselves, and where we put our balance. So what we're going to do for the first 4 rounds of this every 90-second interval, we're going to do 5 pause vertical jumps. We're trying to basically, before we jump up, and like instead of going down and jumping straight back up, we're going to go down and pause there, find our balance in our feet, and then drive up. And we want to jump straight up, because we want to transfer this into when we do Olympic lifts. We're trying to take that force, or that jump force, and send it directly up. Sometimes what I see with some athletes is that we're actually just extending our hips, and we're kind of treating it like a broad jump. So we're jumping forward, so that bar kind of jumps out in front. So we're really trying to prime that up and prime our nervous system up before we go into those hang power cleans, knowing what areas and how it feels to really extend upwards. So with that said, right into every 90 seconds for 6 rounds, we're doing 3 hang power cleans. Moderate heavy weight, you can use last week as a little bit of a reference point. They are all going to be unbroken. We're not wanting to put the bar down. But the goal is, since they're from the hang position, it's going to really force you to be explosive with your hips and really get underneath the bar faster. So kind of working on a little bit of a different quality than last week. So after we've done the strength skill work, going into our workout, 10 minutes. This one is a short, heavy kind of barbell cycling, gymnastic style workout. It's going to be slower, so it's heavier, more challenging movements. You're breathing heavier. And so with these ones, we got 10 minutes, 3 ring muscle ups and 3 front squats. We haven't seen the ring muscle up in a while. Thought I'd bring it back. For those of you who have it, awesome. If not, let's sub it with some pull-ups and some dips to work on that upper body strength. We want to choose progressions today that when we do a set of 3, it feels tough. So you can see the weight for the front squats, 205, 145. That should be a weight that you can clean, but also feels tough to do those 3. So I would say in these 10 minutes, we're looking at maybe 4 to 6 rounds done at most. Then we know we're hitting the right stimulus of this workout. If you hit like 10 or more rounds, I would say that the workout is not as challenging for you. So if I were looking at this for myself, I'd probably aim for 5, maybe 6. It's been a while that I haven't mixed those 2 movements together, but for myself, that's how I look at it. But strength is the overall intent of this that I wanted you guys to get after. So you are going to go slower, not as many rounds. It's not going to be fast paced. So make sure you challenge yourself with those progressions, but also moving well. So with that said, going into the last 2 days, Saturday, building off of our strict press progression, we're going to go into a 4 rep max. So a little bit heavier than last week. 15-minute cap on this one. And like I said, the goal is to build that upper body pushing strength. Then we're going to go into our workout. This one, again, this week's been a theme of intervals. I don't know where this came from, but it was just my inspiration for this week. We got 7 minutes on with 50/40 cal bike. And that's going to be kind of like your buy-in. And then whatever's remaining, you're going to do push-ups there. So I would say probably for those of you who are a little faster on the bike, you're going to probably finish around that 4-minute mark. But at least give yourself a couple minutes by the end. Basically, there's that push or that urgency to go fast on the bike so that you guys can get to the push-ups. And I want you to go into it with a little bit of fatigue. So overall with this one, and the next interval is going to be about that anaerobic stimulus. So that higher intensity where we're breathing heavy or breathing fast. We're feeling that burn kind of build up. That's kind of the energy system we're kind of getting after today. That's more of the anaerobic systems. So when we do that 7 minutes, we do have a 3-minute rest. And then we're going to go into a 7-minute AMRAP with 10 sit-ups, 20 double unders. So quick kind of burnout at the end, a little bit of like any kind of inspiration for this one. So quick transitions, 10 sit-ups, grab the rope, double unders, sit-ups, double unders, and just going at that fast pace for those 7 minutes. You should feel those abs kind of burn out by the end of that. So that is Saturday. And then finally going into our Sunday, we got to choose our own adventure to start off the strength work. So if you look back at what you did last week, choose one of these, or if you want to just change it up every week, that's cool as well. Use this as time as to build up to some heavy sets. You can take this time to really practice your form with that. It really depends on kind of what your goals are and what you want out of it. So, but the overall is we're working on our posterior chain. So you're going to feel hamstrings, glutes, back muscles working regardless of whatever movement you choose today. So again, see how that feels. And again, this is something new. So definitely give us some feedback on how this is going for you guys. Last thing for our workout, 15 minutes. This one is a challenge, I would say, because we're trying to do these 15 rounds in 15 minutes. We got 1 wall walk, 2 burpees, 3 air squats, and we also have every minute we're gonna do 20 single unders. So we got to be moving quickly. We got to try to get a round done every minute on the minute if we want to get this done within the 15 minutes. So good little challenge for your Sunday there. This one is a solo workout. So you're going to make sure you got your progression set, and again, see if you can keep that minute pace. If it's too hard to even do that, change some of the progressions. I would say probably the wall walks is what you want to change. Maybe make that a little bit easier on the like the walking up, and that will kind of make it a little bit easier for you to kind of manage. So we're looking at 15 wall walks total. We got 30 burpees there, and then 45 air squats. Actually, I am going to change that. Let's make that a little more challenging for you guys. I'm going to make it 3. So you got 45, and I'm going to bump this up to 5. There you go. Okay, so let's see if we can do that. I still think it's doable. So let's see how that goes for that Sunday there. Awesome. So this was week 2. We'll see you guys for week 3 for the next video.